This is WYCE's Community Closeup, our weekly public affairs program, produced here at the Community Media Center in partnership with the Rapidian, our hyper-local news service at the Grand Rapids Community Media Center. This is WYCE station manager Phil Tower reminding you Community Closeup brings you diverse perspectives from our community leaders and individuals throughout our great community here of Grand Rapids in West Michigan. I'm very pleased to be one of those great community people, Elizabeth Bovard Strong, founder and president of Construction Allies in Action. Their website, which we will give out several times throughout our conversation, constructionallies.org, constructionallies.org. You have, first of all, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Phil.
I'm really glad you're here. You have a background in the building or the trades business. Is that fair to say?
That is correct.
Okay. You were with Builders Exchange of Michigan prior to starting Construction Allies in Action. So you're the founder and the president. What was the catalyst? What was the spark that made you say, there's an opportunity here and by golly, I'm going to fill it?
Great question. I would say that when I was about 15 years into the Builders Exchange of Michigan, we noticed a lot of failures for a lot of our underrepresented contractors. And when I talk about that, this is our women-owned Black and brown businesses. We see that there would be incentives to use these contractors, but they were really used as checkboxes and not given opportunities. So during COVID, I had this, I was just kind of done. I had heard yet another story of a company that was going under because they kind of that same, not getting the work that they need. These contractors want to work. So I decided that we were going to do something about it, and that is what Construction Allies kind of started originally, and we brought together a group of owners, contractors, an architect that really kind of talked through and helped us create what we have, and from there it has just gone in gangbusters. We definitely, I think the biggest thing that we're showing a difference is that action, words are there, but action is where we're at and really making a difference in these contractors in their business and scaling them.
No business person, whether they're black or brown or whatever their nationality, but as a minority, as a person for that matter, regardless of their skin color, nobody wants to be just a token representative. They want to be taken seriously. That had to be frustrating for you to observe, because I can't imagine, it's not an easy business, the building trades business. It's very competitive. I can't imagine how frustrating that was. And I just want to celebrate you, Elizabeth, for it's not easy to start something. And here you are several years later. How old? Many years for Construction Allies in Action?
5.
Okay. So looking in the rearview mirror, I can tell by how far in you are. You're full guns ahead. Did you have any bumps along the way that you didn't anticipate, or has this been a pretty easy ride so far? That was a dumb question I asked. But, I mean, talk about that. Seriously, you probably had some obstacles, people saying, well, you're not needed, Elizabeth.
I don't think I ever heard that, but we have failed forward so many times. And
I love that.
And what we have found is we have contractors. We have an individual who can do fantastic painting. He can do drywall. He can do carpentry, or she can do, they can do the trade. They might have the connections, but it's running a business. That seems to be the hardest thing to get started, because there's so much learning, and especially within construction. So as we started with in COVID, the only good thing I can think of was the Zoom and the team meeting. So we kind of started off that way so anybody could attend. We started a Strong Foundations program where we were doing kind of a 20 20,000 foot view. We wanted to make sure these companies, they started out, correctly. Should they be a partnership, an LLC? So we had legal, we had accounting, we had back office help, we had website development, we had safety. So they were all kind of great things. And after we got through that cohort, and when we were done, we gave them 5 free legal hours. So if they didn't set something up correctly, let's give them that chance,
Wow.
where we can take care of that for them. Well, then we were done and we're like, well, that's good, but what's next? These companies still need help.
Yeah.
So we then came up with let's create an affiliate hub, and hub stands for historically underrepresented businesses. So we thought, let's get service providers in there that these companies would use anyways, and we are going to give them, there'll be a discount for them, but we pay the difference. So everybody gets paid, but now these contractors can take advantage of services they need at a discount. So we started, and we were very thankful for the city of Grand Rapids who helped, start and fund that for us. And then after that, we came up with a Foundations Plus, which is a more of a wraparound service for a year for these companies to really make sure that if they need help in capacity or capital, connections, we wanted to make sure that they're getting that help. So it has been a continual adding on, but really making sure that, Phil, I don't do this for myself, and I'm not, somebody made a comment about my legacy. I said, oh no, this is not my legacy. This is the contractor's legacy. This is what we do, and it is for them. I am an advocate, and I will always be an advocate to make sure that we're doing what we can to help these contractors grow.
Yeah. Well, I love something that's on your website that I put in my notes. You're all about building a more inclusive, transparent, and equitable construction industry. It has been a pretty guy-dominated, white-dominated business for a long time. A lot of business sectors in this country have not been as inclusive and as equitable in their respective business areas as they could be. And there's been a real focus on that. A lot of pushback by some people and businesses and organizations, and politically we're hearing about that. But this is very important, and it was something that really in the end would benefit the entire industry. The more inclusive, the more equitable you are, the better it is for the industry overall. So if I were to paint a picture for our listeners, and Monica comes to you and says, Elizabeth, I need help. Monica is a Latina woman who is looking, she's a painter, and she's really skilled, but she's looking to really grow her business. How does Construction Allies come alongside her and help her? You talked about all these foundational tools for starting a business, because, boy, you identified something so true. People who are talented aren't necessarily talented at a specific trade, or artists. They're maybe not so talented at running the business side of things. And if they want to make a living with their gifts that they have of being a great drywaller, or a painter, or bricklayer, or mason, that takes some business acumen. So how do you walk alongside? We'll use Monica as an example.
Great. What we are doing now is we are assessing, and this is kind of where we start, is we assess the companies. We're looking to see their financials, their bidding process, things like that. And once we assess them, we can kind of say, hey, you need to go to our Strong Foundations program first, because we want you to use, we're now even expanding, because not everybody needs the legal hours. We're now setting up to where we can actually get their website set up for them. So we really want to make sure that we are intentional as we go through and say, what can we do to help? And then we keep on pushing them through that kind of that process. And one thing I will say is we love collaboration. And we have had so much help with the Urban League, with Spring GR. So there's so many resources on our website too. We point contractors there all the time because we don't do everything, and we certainly don't claim to, but we want to be able to connect them to the sources and resources, where they need help. So that is I love our community, and there has been just so much of an outpouring of support and help for these contractors. So we are one small part of this, and we just love to see more resources coming in. But we have a wonderful. Give a shout out to Courtney Howe, a wonderful website that really can help the contractors where they need it. If they need to get their certifications, if they are looking for any other type of resource, we have that on that website.
Elizabeth Bovard Strong is with us, founder and president of Construction Allies in Action. That amazing, chock full of helpful information website is constructionallies.org. constructionallies.org. You work with commercial contractors and private, or just one of the two?
Commercial and residential.
Okay. Yeah, private/residential.
Yes.
That's maybe not an easy distinction to make, but contractors are in high demand. This is a growing community, growing area we live in. It seems like it's been dramatically changing for the last 20 years. There's always a crane in the sky, some building being built or added onto. How, for our listeners in our remaining moments left, Elizabeth, how can someone on the other end of the radio hearing you and I have this conversation about Construction Allies in Action, how can they or the company they work for, maybe the company they own, support you and what you are doing? You are really doing a lot of great things in this area. You've got a captive audience. What do you want them to know?
We welcome any owner, any general contractor, any contractor who is interested. There are many ways to support us. And I always say money is great. Money helps us do what we need to do. But even those contractors that want to wrap around and be mentors and really help these companies grow, that's just as important. And everything is on our website, constructionallies.org. And anybody who wants to get on our newsletter, all that information is right there to get and be part of what we do. Volunteers, we love them and we need them.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who have a heart for wanting to pay it forward. So this is a great opportunity. If you are an independent contractor and you'd like to help, again, constructionallies.org, constructionallies.org. Is there anything I didn't ask you wanted to share with our listeners about what you're doing or what you have coming ahead?
I think we've covered it all. And as I said, if
that can't
you
be
did
possible.
You did a great job.
Well, you're doing something that is so exciting, so needed, and really, I got to tell you, as someone who's lived in West Michigan my whole life, I am constantly surprised and pleased, delighted, maybe in some circumstances, by the things we have going on in the background every day that make this a better place to live and work and play. And I didn't know about you until our executive director, Starla McDermott, said, you need to have Elizabeth on the show. And I'm so glad Starla said that, because you are making it happen. And let's do this down the road and get an update from you on where you are maybe 3 or 6 months from now. We'd love to have you back if you'll come back.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Phil.
Absolutely. Elizabeth Bovard Strong, the founder and president, Construction Allies in Action, here with us in WYCE's Community Closeup, our weekly public affairs program produced with the Rapidian. That's our program for this week. I'm WYCE station manager Phil Tower. Thank you for tuning in.